Chapter 82, A Shocking News. At night, Lin Jufeng was quietly cultivating with the white cat. This was the first time in 3 months that they managed to sleep on the frost jade bed. Lin Jufeng believed that this situation would remain as it was in the future. However, as the sky turned dark, the night pervaded the land. The moonlight was akin to that of a waterfall, yet also like a veil that draped over one's body. On such a beautiful night, Lin Jufeng and the white cat abruptly stopped their cultivation. They raised their heads and looked at the 2 cherry trees. They couldn't help but quietly admire the scene in front of them. A man and a cat. The 2 blooming cherry trees complemented each other. The pink cherry blossoms fluttered in the evening breeze. Lin Jufeng was tall and slender. He wore a dust-free suit with a snow-white collar. On his shoulder stood the little white cat. This scene was silent and picturesque as if it was from a painting that had come alive. But such a beautiful scene was broken by the sound of opening gates. Dong! The gates of the cold palace have opened once again. The sound immediately scattered the painting-like scene. Lin Jufeng and the white cat looked at each other, speechless. Lin Jufeng scanned with his divine soul and discovered that the person who opened the door was Princess Yulin. She left in the morning and immediately came back in the evening. Meow! The white cat called out. She looked at Lin Jufeng and remembered what Lin Jufeng said in the day. She couldn't help but snicker. Back then, she said that Lin Jufeng was being too idealistic. Sure enough, as the white cat predicted, Princess Yulin came again. But the white cat didn't think that she would come so soon. What do you plan to do? The white cat asked Lin Jufeng. Let's observe for now. She didn't come here alone, Lin Jufeng said softly. He saw the young man behind Princess Yulin. Emperor De. Even though Lin Jufeng had never seen Emperor De before, he still recognized him at first glance. Emperor De looked a little similar to himself. He also had that temperament and the dignity that belonged solely to an emperor. Even though Emperor De still wasn't directly handling the state affairs yet, he had accumulated quite a lot of experience from the guidance of the court officials. Did Princess Yulin bring Emperor De here to let him see the true colors of the Zenith Heaven Path sect? Lin Jufeng thought silently. The power of his divine soul distorted the space around him. He stood still with the white cat. Princess Yulin closed the door of the cold palace and was about to walk in. When Emperor De spoke curiously, "This is the cold palace. The sinners of the royal family are imprisoned here. Why did you bring me here?" Princess Yulin said, "I brought you here to let you see the treasures that Grandpa Emperor left behind. There's no one in the cold palace anyway." Princess Yulin, who had lived here for 3 months, didn't discover Lin Jufeng at all. Is there no one else in the cold palace? Emperor De looked around curiously. That's right, I've been living here for 3 months now. Princess Yulin nodded. But when I was studying history, I remember very clearly that about 40 years ago, a crown prince made a mistake and his cultivation was destroyed. He was then banished to the cold palace. Until now, there has been no news of his death. Emperor De followed Princess Yulin in as he spoke. You also know that it was about 40 years ago. At that time, even Father Emperor hadn't been born. It has to be traced back to Grandpa Emperor's generation. Princess Yulin said. Do you know why I remember this matter? Emperor De asked Princess Yulin. Why? Princess Yulin didn't understand. Because strictly speaking, the dethroned crown prince imprisoned here is the biological elder brother of Grandpa Emperor. They were born from the same mother. In other words, he is our big grand uncle. Emperor De explained to Princess Yulin. No wonder Grandpa Emperor hid the treasures and secret manuals here. It's probably to pay respects to this big grand uncle who was banished to the cold palace, Princess Yulin replied in understanding. Probably, Emperor De shook his head, not wanting to think about the whereabouts of the dethroned crown prince who was imprisoned here. Perhaps it was really as Princess Yulin had said. After 40 years, there was a possibility that he was already dead. These 2 cherry trees are quite beautiful, they are in full bloom. Emperor De looked at the 2 cherry trees outside the courtyard. He took a deep breath of the refreshing air. They bloomed while I was living here. It might have been planted by our big grand uncle, Princess Yulin said with a smile. Emperor De nodded and looked around. He didn't find anything, so he followed Princess Yulin into the courtyard. Meanwhile, Lin Jufeng and the white cat watched them silently from under the cherry trees. They called you big grand uncle. The white cat whispered into Lin Jufeng's ear. Princess Yulin probably brought Emperor De here to read the books. She wanted to let him know about the Zenith Heaven Path sect scheme, Lin Jufeng said. He didn't chase them out. It was good for Emperor Da to know the origins of the Zenith Heaven Path sect, so he would be on guard against them. This way, Emperor Da wouldn't be so foolish as to be deceived by the Zenith Heaven Path sect. If this happened, then only the end awaited the Yuha God dynasty. Lin Jufeng would also have fewer troubles to think of. He wouldn't have to save the Yuha God dynasty from being destroyed. Just like that, Lin Jufeng and the white cat stood under the cherry trees. They watched as Princess Yulin brought Emperor Da along to look through the pile of books that recorded the previous era in great detail. From his initial surprise and disbelief to his subsequent silence, Emperor Da's face then turned cold. Brother Emperor, this book specifically recorded the matters of the Zenith Heaven Path sect. You should take a look at it carefully, Princess Yulin said softly. Emperor Da reached out and took it. He was speechless for a long time before he slowly opened the first page. Everything about the Zenith Heaven Path sect was recorded in great detail. They deceived me. Emperor Da gritted his teeth. Princess Yulin said, it's not unreasonable that every court official and even mother opposed the Zenith Heaven Path sect. It's not too late for you to become aware of their true colors. Emperor Da didn't say anything. He read the entire book seriously. His good impression of the Zenith Heaven Path sect disappeared. Sister, thank you. Emperor Da thanked Princess Yulin seriously. If it wasn't for Princess Yulin showing him these, he would never believe that Sect Master Luo Yu was so good to him only because he had selfish motives. It's fine as long as you've come back to your senses. Besides, there's no need to thank me. You should thank Grandpa Emperor. This is definitely the treasure that Grandpa Emperor left for us, Princess Yulin said with a smile. Emperor Da looked around but he didn't respond. Sister, it's going to be daybreak soon. Let's go back. Let's not touch anything here for now. Emperor Da looked at the moonlight. It was already close to dawn. They spent the entire night reading books. Lin Jufeng spent the night under the cherry trees. Fortunately, Emperor Da and Princess Yulin soon left and closed the doors of the cold palace. They didn't bring these books with them. Of course, even if they did, Lin Jufeng wouldn't mind. He had memorized the contents of the books by heart, so it didn't matter whether the books were still here or not. This time, no one should come here anymore. We can finally continue our cultivation in peace. Lin Jufeng looked at their departing backs and muttered in satisfaction. The white cat rolled her eyes at Lin Jufeng. You said the same thing before. Just watch if you don't believe me. Lin Jufeng was still very confident this time. To this pair of siblings, this cold palace wasn't that useful anymore. Sure enough, Lin Jufeng was right. For the following month, neither Princess Yulin nor Emperor Da came to the cold palace. The cold palace's peace finally returned. Lin Jufeng could also finally continue his routine of signing in every day. 1 month later, Dakin came to see Lin Jufeng. He brought with him a piece of news that shocked Lin Jufeng and the white cat. Dakin came to deliver food and wine and told Lin Jufeng about the major events that happened in the Yuha God dynasty this month in front of the cold palace. Lin Jufeng and the white cat listened quietly behind the door. Initially, they thought that it was nothing serious. But as they listened, they were dumbfounded. Dakin, what did you just say? Lin Jufeng asked in a low voice. He suspected that he had misheard. Your Royal Highness, the unification of the Shanbei tribes in the plains has resulted in the establishment of a new country, the Great Sha Dragon Sparrow. The Emperor of the Great Sha Dragon Sparrow is called Murong Ling. He's a powerhouse that rose to prominence on the plains and is considered to be very powerful. He also has the support of the Essence Chi sect. With their help, he unified the plains and he now has 1 million armed troops under his command. All of them are very fierce. It's going to be winter soon. The plains are suffering from a snowstorm that hasn't been seen in 1,000 years. It's very cold. Countless sheep, cows, and even the Shanbei people froze to death. So this Murong Ling gave the order to invade the Yuha God dynasty before winter. In the peace talks, Murong Ling is coercing the Yuha God dynasty to help them if the latter didn't want an invasion. He even said that he wanted to marry the princess of the Yuha God dynasty to form a good relationship. This is the most major event that happened in the last month. Dakin explained. Lin Jufeng frowned. He recalled the time when he rushed to the plains and killed Martial Sage Tumen on the Celestial Mountain. All of it was also because Martial Sage Tumen had unified the plains and wanted to invade the Yuha God dynasty upon the arrival of winter and heavy snow. At that time, the court officials of the imperial court were locked in a fierce stalemate. Each one of them had their own reasoning, and no one could convince the other on what to do. Emperor Ming had no choice but to come and beg for Lin Jufeng's help. This led to the story of him entering the plains on a snowy night, killing martial sage Tumen on the Celestial Mountain, and entering the life-knowing stage with one strike. He thought that this story would be enough to force the Shanbei people to submit. But decades later, the Shanbei tribes were united once again. Their force was more dangerous, and their ambitions were also greater than before. They led an army of 1 million and threatened to invade and plunder the Yuha God dynasty. And they even shamelessly asked to marry Princess Yulin in exchange for peace. There was only one princess in this generation of the Yuha God dynasty, that was Princess Yulin. Lin Jufeng had already met her here in the Cold Palace. He even entered her dreams and gave her pointers for 3 months while also teaching her the ultimate heaven-slashing sword skill, making her invincible among the martial sages. It could be said that Princess Yulin was Lin Jufeng's successor. She was related to Lin Jufeng by blood, and she also practiced Lin Jufeng's ultimate heaven-slashing sword skill. Lin Jufeng naturally couldn't sit still and do nothing. Lin Jufeng would never agree to let a girl like her, who was akin to a fairy in the moonlight, marry someone from the plains in such a humiliating manner. How did the Yuha God dynasty react to this matter? Lin Jufeng's expression turned slightly cold as he asked. Dakin sighed. Most people in the imperial court and even the public are in favor of marrying Princess Yulin off to seek respite from the threat of invasion. Lin Jufeng's expression turned even colder. With a cracking sound, he crushed the cup in his hand. Your Royal Highness, the Shanbei of the past and the current Great Sha Dragon Sparrow are indeed quite powerful, especially the Essence Chi sect. I don't know where they came from, but they have hundreds of human gods. They are all acting as a deterrent force at our borders. Once we reject them, the millions of people at our borders will suffer a great catastrophe. Dakin explained the conundrum of the imperial court to Lin Jufeng. If they chose to fight, it would last throughout the dead of the winter, just like when Emperor Ming fell into trouble back then. Once the war started, the number of deaths from the war would definitely be inconceivable. Therefore, when it came to reducing losses, marrying a princess to save the people from war was a logical choice. But that was just the rational aspect, there was still the emotional aspect to be considered. What did Emperor De say? Lin Jufeng took a deep breath. He knew that anger was useless. The matter wasn't so simple that it would be over with a casual refusal. If he wanted to prevent Princess Yulin from marrying over, he had to find another way to deal with the Great Sha Dragon Sparrow. Moreover, the price of this method was small, at least within the limits of what the Yuha God dynasty could withstand. Emperor De naturally isn't agreeable about it, but the court officials are advising him to do it. It has been a long time since Emperor De has appeared publicly, and it is said that he has been cultivating like crazy. Dakin sighed. Emperor De was truly cultivating like mad. He wanted to improve himself to eliminate the Great Sha Dragon Sparrow. What a simple-minded kid. Lin Jufeng shook his head. At this moment, Emperor De should be thinking of a solution. He had to show perseverance and quickly make a decision, instead of hiding and cultivating. Emperor De hasn't said anything yet, that's why the court officials are arguing with each other. Every day, they ask His Majesty about how to handle this matter. Dakin shook his head. Your Royal Highness, I will continue to observe this matter. If there is any news, I will inform your Royal Highness on my next visit. Seeing that Lin Jufeng had already finished eating, Dakin packed up and turned to leave. Lin Jufeng and the white cat stood solemnly behind the door of the cold palace. Meow. The white cat called out and said, I remember that when I first met you, you went to the plains alone. You can just go there one more time. Lin Jufeng's gaze was faint. He said in a deep voice, I can go to the plains and solve this matter, but I want to see what Princess Yulin thinks about this matter. In this matter, the only key person was Princess Yulin. She was the one being sacrificed, so Lin Jufeng wanted to see her. Speak of the devil. Princess Yulin slowly walked over and appeared outside the cold palace. She looked a little lonely as she took out a key and opened the gates of the cold palace. Then, she walked past Lin Jufeng and the white cat before entering the courtyard. Lin Jufeng and the white cat once again became invisible, Princess Yulin couldn't see them at all. She's not in a good mood, the white cat said. It would be a miracle if she's in a good mood, Lin Jufeng muttered. Lin Jufeng brought the white cat into the courtyard. He then heard Princess Yulin's aggrieved voice. Grandpa Emperor, the imperial court is forcing me to marry that Mirong Ling. They say if I don't marry him, I will be abandoning the millions of common people at the borders. They will be wiped out by the invasion of the Shanbei army. This crime is too big for me to bear. Princess Yulin's voice was soft and weak. She felt wronged, but she didn't dare to say it out loud. Should she tell her mother? Her mother had always been busy dealing with the state affairs. She couldn't possibly add to her stress and worries. Should she tell her brother Emperor? Her brother Emperor would directly disagree. But the consequence of disagreeing was that the common people at the borders would be implicated. There seemed to be only one path in front of her. The marriage alliance. Princess Yulin felt so wronged that she could only come here and pretend to talk to Grandpa Emperor. She hid in a corner all alone and hugged her own knees, feeling aggrieved. Seeing this scene, Lin Jufeng's eyes flashed. He said softly, "What's your own opinion?" Mysterious master. Princess Yulin looked around in surprise. She remembered Lin Jufeng's voice. She had heard it in her dream for 3 whole months. She looked left and right, but she didn't find anyone. She only thought that the mysterious master's body no longer existed and that he only had his spirit left in this world. If there's no other choice, I will naturally marry him, Princess Yulin replied. She was a princess and was born in the royal family. Naturally, she had a lot of responsibilities to bear. Although she felt wronged, she had to consider the safety of the millions of common people. What about the Zenith Heaven Path sect that you told me about? Lin Jufeng continued to ask. They said that they are no match for the Essence Chi sect that's backing the Great Sha Dragon Sparrow. They can protect the imperial capital, but they are unable to solve this problem, Princess Yulin said calmly. Ever since Emperor De found out about the truth of the Zenith Heaven Path sect, they gradually became distant from each other. The Zenith Heaven Path sect also wasn't foolish enough to become enemies with the Essence Chi sect just to please Emperor De. What do you think I should do? Princess Yulin asked Lin Jufeng for help. Go to the plains, Lin Jufeng said. Ah, Princess Yulin blinked. Was this the only choice left? Go to the plains yourself and carve out a path of blood. Cut off the head of this so-called Great Sha Dragon Sparrow. Since they are coveting your beauty, then you should go there personally, Lin Jufeng said calmly. But his eyes were cold. I can't. Princess Yulin shook her head. She wanted to, but she was only at the martial sage realm. She could do it with her current strength before the recovery of the world's spiritual energy. But now, with so many martial sages in the world and the existence of human gods slowly becoming so widespread, this feat was impossible for her to fulfill all alone. There's a sword case in the house. Bring it with you to the plains and focus on killing the enemy. Leave the rest to me, Lin Jufeng said coldly. Sword case. Princess Yulin entered the inner room and saw an exquisite long box placed beside the frost jade bed. It was entirely black, but the carvings on it were exquisite and intricate. The carvings seemed to be similar to a mysterious talisman. Princess Yulin wanted to lift the sword case, but she found that it was very heavy. She used all her strength, but she still couldn't lift it. Use your ultimate heaven slashing sword skill to lift the sword case, Lin Jufeng told her. Princess Yulin immediately followed Lin Jufeng's instructions. Sword energy emerged from her body and coiled around the sword case. The sword case gradually became lighter. She was finally able to carry it with ease. Carrying the sword case that was about her size, Princess Yulin asked curiously, I can go to the plains on my own just by bringing this. Of course, this sword case is my armory. Go to the plains and just focus on killing. Leave the rest to the sword case, Lin Jufeng said. Princess Yulin raised her head and looked at the empty surroundings. She revealed a smile and said firmly, Master, I shall go to the plains right now. I won't kill people randomly. As long as I can kill that Morong Ling and make the people of the plains afraid of me, that will be enough. With her mysterious master supporting her, she became more confident. Instead of getting married off to live a miserable life, she might as well give her all this time for a chance to turn her fate around. Go, Lin Jufeng replied in satisfaction. Since she wanted to resist the opposition, he would lend her a hand. He conquered the plains and the Shanbei tribes decades ago. And now, they just changed their name and they were planning to rebel once again. This time, Lin Jufeng could similarly suppress the plains from the imperial capital. As long as Princess Yulin was determined to move forward, he would be able to tear everything in front of her apart. Princess Yulin left with the sword case. She went to the palace and found Emperor De. Emperor De was cultivating diligently. He hated himself for being too weak. Sister, I won't marry you off. You are so powerful and talented, you are the future hope of the Yuha god dynasty. Emperor De said firmly when he saw Princess Yulin. Princess Yulin smiled gently. After experiencing these things, she had grown up and shed her previous naivety. Brother Emperor, I'm going to the plains, Princess Yulin said softly. No, I won't allow it. Emperor De looked at Princess Yulin in shock and shook his head. Are you listening to the bullcrap of those corrupt scholars? Let me tell you, they. Emperor De said in a hurry. But before he could finish his words, he was interrupted by Princess Yulin. If I don't go to the plains this time, then wouldn't the millions of people at our borders encounter a great catastrophe? I will think of a way. Emperor De gritted his teeth and looked at Princess Yulin. Big brother, trust me this once. In my name, spread the news to the great Shah Dragon Sparrow's Morong Ling. I will go to the plains alone to kill him. If he wants to marry me, then he should show me his true ability. Princess Yulin smiled radiantly as she said to Emperor De. Emperor De looked at Princess Yulin in shock. This delicate and fragile girl was actually so domineering. Your cultivation base, Emperor De said worriedly. Trust me, big brother. Princess Yulin shouted firmly. She stopped calling him, Brother Emperor, instead, she changed it to, Big Brother. They were born to the same mother, and they were the ones closest to each other. Emperor De was at a loss for words. He felt conflicted. Apologize to mother for me. I'm leaving now, there's no need to worry about me. Princess Yulin turned around and left. This time, she didn't hide her aura at all. The aura of a peak martial sage realm expert directly rushed out of the Forbidden City and out of the imperial capital. Not long after, a shocking imperial decree came from the Forbidden City. Princess Yulin went to the plains alone to kill the great Shah Dragon Sparrow's Morong Ling. If Morong Ling wanted to marry her, he would have to catch her on the plains. This was absolutely shocking. Marriage alliances have always been a common thing since ancient times. It was also common for people to go back on their words in marriage alliances. But this was unprecedented. The princess involved in the marriage alliance was going to kill the other party by herself and even said that if he caught her, she would marry him. As soon as this imperial decree came, the world was thrown into an uproar. Countless people discussed it. It was also Princess Yulin's first time officially walking into the eyes of everyone. It was just that her image seemed blurry to the eyes. The Zenith Heaven Path sect was located on a mountain on one side of the imperial capital. The sect master, Luo Yu, also heard the news about this imperial decree. He totally disregarded it. I've seen Princess Yulin before. She's just a small cultivator in the innate realm, a soft and weak little girl. She's only 16 years old. I can see that she's just messing around, Sect Master Luo Yu said in disdain. The old Taoist priest sitting opposite him chuckled. She's just a little girl after all. She's being wishful. The crucial part is that Emperor De is also cooperating with her. This Yuha god dynasty really has no future of it. I have already started infiltrating into the imperial court of the Yuha god dynasty. After I've controlled them, I will be able to control the cabinet ministers, and that will also include Emperor De. This kid has been on guard against us recently. Could it be that he had noticed something? Sect Master Luo Yu coldly snorted. It's fine. As long as we manage to dig out the powerhouses of our Zenith Heaven Path sect, the Yuha god dynasty isn't worth mentioning. Have you found where our powerhouses are yet? The old Taoist priest waved his hand and asked. He did not place the Yuha god dynasty in his eyes at all. I've found it. More and more powerful sects are appearing in the world as we speak. Even the Essence Chi sect powerhouses of the plains have appeared. It has only been a few years since the recovery of the world's spiritual energy. The Heavenly Tao sect truly has gone into a decline. They are not capable enough at all, Sect Master Luo Yu said mockingly. The old Taoist priest chuckled. We only have this chance because the disciples from the Heavenly Tao sect aren't good enough. Otherwise, if they discovered where we were and we were really sealed by them for hundreds of years, resulting in us missing a few great opportunities, that would be a huge loss to us. Sect leader Luo Yu nodded. They then started to discuss other matters. What was their opinion of Princess Yulin's actions? They unanimously agreed that she had lost her mind doing such a stupid thing. If she was caught, wouldn't she still need to marry Morong Ling? Since that was the case, why didn't she save herself some face? Why did she insist on finding trouble for herself? When the king of the great Shah Dragon Sparrow, Morong Ling, heard this news, He laughed out loud in glee. She's indeed a tough nut to crack. Mobilize the army's powerhouses and catch her. I want to teach her a good lesson. You want to kill me? Are you worthy? Murong Ling said with a smile, but the cold light in his eyes truly looked terrifying. This was his first time being humiliated like this by none other than a little girl. Since she was a tough nut to crack, he decided to break her legs and lock her up at home. After he was done playing with her, her life and death would no longer matter to him at all. Most people in the world treated Princess Yulin's words as a joke. They were all mocking Princess Yulin and Emperor Da. They were indeed siblings. They had gone mad together. But Princess Yulin didn't care about their thoughts. Bringing with her Lin Jufeng's sword case, she arrived at the plains in less than a day with the help of her cultivation base at the peak of the martial sage realm. The snowstorm arrived. The entire plains were covered in heavy snow. The temperature was very low. Even though she was in the martial sage realm, she could still feel the coldness of the air on her skin. Her nose had turned red from the cold, and her hands holding the sword case seemed to be trembling. But she continued her journey with firm determination in her heart. Her target was the capital of the great Sha Dragon Sparrow, Wolf Story Mountain. Master said that I only need to focus on killing the enemy and that I should leave the rest to him. I believe in Master. Princess Yulin's gaze remained steadfast. On her first day in the plains, she had already encountered people from the great Sha Dragon Sparrow army. A human god. He had been waiting for her long ago. He looked at Princess Yulin indifferently as he spat in disdain. I can see you at a glance in the vast snow. Come back to Wolf Story Mountain with me. I don't want to hurt you. Princess Yulin put down the sword case and calmly unsheathed her longsword. I have only truly used the ultimate heaven-slashing sword skill that my master imparted to me once, and it was inside my dreams. But so what if the opponent is a human god? Princess Yulin's eyes were resplendent, like pieces of jewelry. Reflected within her retina were the scenes of Lin Jufeng unsheathing his sword. Along with his movement, Princess Yulin also unsheathed her sword. A streak of sword energy streaked across the world and it slashed down directly. Pooh! A streak of blood splattered across the vast expanse of snow, dyeing the snow crimson red. Master wasn't lying when he said to me that the ultimate heaven-slashing sword skill can split the sky into two and cut down gods. Princess Yulin exclaimed jubilantly. Unfortunately, no one could hear her voice. Princess Yulin lifted the sword case and continued on her journey. Thanks for listening. The story continues shortly. This was read to you by Erebus.